Okay, it's been a little bit since I did a video, and haven't been sitting around doing nothing. I came up with an idea for this video by watching another channel called Paul's Garage. I will try and put it in the description of this video. But anyway, he was talking about making a 3D print using a castable, not a castable refractory, but a printable refractory material. Low temp stuff, of course, but got me thinking there's so many different ways to build the same pattern, and from green sand to a printable refractory material, depending on what it is you're building, you have to rethink your thought process. It's not the same as a sand casting, depending on complexity. So in this case, the pattern I built is relatively straightforward. It looks like a fairly simple pattern. Here's a drawing for it. Pattern I built is 75% of what these dimensions are. And I did use all metric in this, not the imperial measurements. But anyway, the pattern is pretty straightforward. Pattern is nothing more than a cake. It can be turned on the lathe. It could be this size. It would be sawed and sanded. Not a big deal. Pretty straightforward for the pattern. Where the problem comes in is the putting the mold together. So in a normal sand casting, you would ram up your drag. So you got your drag, you rammed it up, and then you flip the whole thing over. Got the pattern in the mold. This is just a section cut out of it, so I can show you other things. So pull your, from here you'd of course ram up your cope. Your cope would look something similar to this, except these bosses wouldn't be here. And your cope would go on. Oops, I've got to take the pattern out. Ha. Anyway, your cope would go on like that and you'd ram it up. So now you got your cope. Take your cope off to the side and you set pieces for your core in. Core is where it's going to be complicated. Center core is pretty straightforward. Just a cylinder. The drag core print is oversized to keep the thing from tipping this way. Gives you a better foot, so you put that in there. Now you got to make a key. That's what this is for, is the key to start where you put your cores in. This is where it gets a little complicated. To get the casting, you're going to have open face the core box, which in this case I would make this the open face. This section here would be a loose piece, and on the ends of the core there would be loose pieces to define this stuff. First core would be set in, not as sloppy as that, but be set in right there. This of course would be your gating system for a sand casting. Second piece could be set in here, like so. Third piece set in here. Now you notice criteria for this casting, since I'm making it up on my own, is zero draft or minimal draft at best. So far I got no draft. These holes need to be cast in. Center bore is cast in, of course. So how do I get those? I got 3 core prints here. And there they are. I would make 3 little cores, and I would put them in each one of these all the way around. I won't put these 2 in yet, and I'll show you in a minute. After you do that, you put the cope on, pour down your down sprue, you got a casting. So where you need to rethink it for a refractory type material, or say a permanent mold, is you have to have a way, unless these are sand cores, you have to have a way to take these out of this mold. So to do that, you wouldn't put these core prints in here. You would put these bosses on here that would have slight draft on them. And you would pull this out. So this would be a metal piece, it's all machined, or refractory material that was printed. So that way, when they're set in there, this would separate. Then you could pull the drag off, and you could pull each one of these out and that out one at a time. And that works really good. I don't know if I'd do it with refractory material. Permanent mold, you would have to probably rearrange this, because of where your parting line is, your gating of course would have to be different. Your gating would have to go through here. And what they'd probably do is put a reservoir of metal up here, put it together laying down like this, everything's put together, and then tip the mold up like this, and that reservoir of metal would flow in through the parting line here into the casting. So that's basically 3 ways you can do it. I wouldn't use it for printable refractory, especially it's low melting point metal. But when you're all done with this and molds, everything is cast, you end up with a casting that looks like that. So everything was built off of this model to make sure everything I got was right. And it all seemed to work, and that is about it for that. It was just an interesting experiment to show how it can be done using castable refractory. In the core boxes, you have to make sure that this core would draw out of the mold once cope and drag are off, would draw out of this casting, which would be in like here, like so. Okay, now you got your casting. This would have to pull off the casting this way. So if you got it all put together properly, open face of the box, this backside would be a loose piece. These would be here, could be a loose piece because you got these notches in here, and each one is different slightly from the other because I incorporated the ingate into the mold itself. So that's how you do it. Like I said, this all goes together. Let's see, that is that one, and that one. So that would give you your casting. And that's about it for this mold. Don't know what I'm going to do with it now. I was thinking some of this stuff, because I am getting older, see if I can find a school to donate it to. But nobody has foundries anymore. Not in school anyway. We had one in our high school, and I took a foundry class in that just to make a couple small castings. And that's it. And the other thing I've been working on is, this is my next casting project. Of course, y'all know what that is. You've seen it before. I got to make another one of these for a friend of mine. Like I said, I built it as a one-off pattern, and I think I've made about 6 or 7 now. He wants one out of copper, just like the one I made for myself. Depending on the weight of it, he also wants me to make him one out of silver. So apparently he's got more than me. I wouldn't cast one of those out of silver for me. Too much money involved. Another one, I needed a shorter walking stick. So I made this one. Just gives me a handhold to put my hand on it'll be shorter, so if I'm sitting in a low chair, I can use that to help push myself back up. I'm not sure how much casting I'm going to be able to do in the future because my left leg doesn't really like me much anymore. So that's just the way it goes. Other than that, the next video, a sit-down type video like this, if anybody's interested, would be how to build a furnace, or how I built my furnace and where to take it and the way it works and how it works, and see if anybody's interested. I'll get started on that pretty soon. I've already got the 3D prints made of the furnace and everything I need to show you, and then when I cast these walking stick heads, I'll show you what that looks like out in my actual furnace. So that's about it. You guys have a good one, and we'll talk at y'all later. Bye.